Hello, fellow patriots, and welcome back to Red, Rights, and You, the only show where we ask questions like, what if the Wizard of Oz wore a hoodie or funded a revolution? So today, we're talking Musk versus Soros, two billionaires, two radically different playbooks, and one burning question. Which one's the real puppet master behind the curtain? Now, on one side, you've got Elon Musk, rocket launcher, meme lord, free speech absolutist, and part-time Iron Man. The man's out there revolutionizing transportation, space travel, and apparently brain chips. He has Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, Starlink, and now X. The guy's basically Tony Stark with better Wi-Fi. And then there's George Soros, hedge fund kingpin, globalist financier, and left-wing sugar daddy to every professional protester this side of Portland. The man's got more shell groups than a hermit crab convention. He doesn't invest in tech, he invests in turmoil. Sure, they're both multi-billionaires. Musk's worth a casual $369.8 billion, Soros a modest $7.2 billion. But hey, after $5 billion, who's counting? Well, I guess we are. Now, here's where it gets spicy. Soros isn't just writing checks to politicians. He's funding protests, propaganda, and political chaos like it's some sort of dystopian side hustle. From anti-Tesla rallies to pro-Palestinian mobs to paid Trump haters showing up with pre-printed signs and matching T-shirts, if there's a left-wing spectacle happening, odds are George cut the check. And while the media used to call this a right-wing conspiracy, Soros has practically added puppet master to his LinkedIn profile. He's proud of it, proud of the chaos, proud of the division, proud of his resume that reads like Joseph Stalin's travel journal. But fear not, because on the other side, we've got people like Elon Musk and President Trump who refuse to be bought, bribed, or bullied. And as long as they're standing tall and the Republican Party's spine stays intact, this globalist nonsense doesn't stand a chance. So grab your ruby slippers and follow the yellow brick road with us while we uncover truths and deception along the way. We're peeling back the curtain on the Emerald City of elites, because behind every protest sign, media narrative, and suspiciously well-funded riot, there just might be a wrinkly old wizard pulling the strings. And spoiler alert, it ain't Elon. So once again, let's welcome in the master corruption blaster, the king of uncovering conspiracies, the wizard of right-wing commentary, the one, the only, Mark Mosgrove. How you doing today, Mark?
I'm doing good, but you're going to give me a God complex. I mean, seriously. Which, actually, what I read is George Soros is quoted as saying when he was a kid, he thought he was a god.
Yeah. And he calls Trump the narcissist.
And then he said then he realized that he could get himself into trouble being that way. But then he said now that he's made the money that he's made, that he kind of basically lives that life. So that he self-described himself as a god in his quote. I've heard a lot about George Soros, and I didn't really know too much about him. He's kind of the boogeyman on the Dem side, and now Elon's the boogeyman for the Republican side. The only difference between the two, well, there's several differences. Elon Musk voted for Republican for the first time in 2022. So this is a new thing for him. He's not been overtly political through his life at all. It's just more recently that he's gotten into it. And he didn't even endorse Trump until after Trump was shot in, June? Whereas Soros, he's been an influencer for a lot of years now. What's interesting to me is, like, if you read the wiki page for George Soros and you read the wiki page for Elon Musk's wiki page comes across that he is not a good dude. Like, he has failed at everything, basically, and somehow he's failed his way into being the richest man in the world.
Yeah.
And then George Soros is a philanthropist. He's given to causes to feed the children and all this kind of stuff. And
Well, you
no
look at
comment.
you look at Musk and all the different companies, and they're
Yes.
beneficial for the whole human race. And Soros has his paws in everything. Of course, he's used his main business to finance those and to buy smaller companies. But his main business is a hedge fund.
To make
So he
money.
moves money around. As a globalist, which he is, and what globalists do, all they want to do is create chaos. If you don't think he has something to do with all this chaos with the stock market and everything, the latest paid protesters, we just had some down here in Medina, Ohio, which, as you know, Mark, you're from around here originally, is a traditionally red area. And they're holding up the signs. What happened to our 401ks? He wants that panic. They want fluctuation. They would love for the stock market to crash, because what he does as a hedge fund manager and his staff, they know how to take advantage of turmoil and chaos in markets in order to make money. They know how to buy and sell with the stock market and how to manipulate things. And that's what he does. He doesn't just do it here in the United States. He gets involved in politics all throughout the world. If Satan were a man, I would look at George Soros and say, that's him. That guy is the most evil, corrupt piece of shit person, if you wouldn't even call him that. I don't even describe him as a human being on this planet. I cannot stand the guy. All he wants to do is create turmoil, and then he hides behind the curtain, which is kind of the Oz reference too, because that's what he does. But now it's come out that he signs and everything else, anything where there's money involved. So any kind of payoff doesn't surprise me. Okay, allegedly. Did he maybe have something to do with assassination attempts on Trump? Maybe, maybe not. How about the judges? Anybody can be bought, either bought or threatened. What happened with Amy Coney Barrett, where before she was staunchly behind the conservative mission, and all of a sudden she's switching votes on common sense things there shouldn't even be a debate on, to be honest. And the Dems are going to push it and push it. And the more business owners and everyday people, the more panicked they become, the more fuel is added to the fire. So now they really want to push it and push it and push it and get them over the edge. They don't care about what's best for humanity. They don't care what's best for this country. All they care about is how can they benefit from whatever happens, regardless if it's good or bad or indifferent. They don't care about small business owners. They don't care about anything. All they want to do is capitalize on bad situations. That's like about the most evil way to make money. Like I said, these guys make mafia look like kindergartners, To me, it's just shameful what he does. And then he's about 100 years old. He made the deal with the devil, I think, to live a long life, but his son's following right in his footsteps. So it kills me. I made a note here. One guy makes his billions by coming up with products which benefit the human race, the other by destabilizing countries and creating opportunities for himself as a globalist. So there you have it.
He has said that he's based his decision. Now, I don't know when he said this, but that he takes an amoral approach. Amoral, what does that mean? In other words, morals don't play into it. He just looks at the numbers, is what it looks like. Is that basically when they say he takes an amoral approach to his business?
Yeah, I really think it.
Not immoral, in his words, amoral. In other words, morals don't have any impact into what he does. So it's about making money.
Right.
So when did he transition to, I've got enough money now, I can influence things? Did he do it out of, I've got enough money now, I want to help the things that I care about? Or is he doing it in order to make more money? Or is he doing it to create situations where he can make more money and influence? I mean, you can't get into a person's head for sure.
My opinion is he's investing in chaos. It's an investment in horrible situations. There's reports out now that they're investigating him for skimming $260 million from that U.S. aid fiasco where they were finding all that waste. So they were thinking maybe he's not using his own money a lot of the times. He's skimming the money off the top for the U.S. aid and then paying people off with the money that he's stolen. So these are all alleged, right? And just all things that are reported and that you hear. But it wouldn't surprise me. He's been a longtime Trump hater. He'll do anything he can to upset the apple cart. Not that he's the only enemy that Trump, I guess, has ever made, but it's just amazing.
Supposedly, when he overtly started getting involved in politics is when George W. Bush II was president. That's when he started getting more active. Now, that was 20 to 25 years ago. So he was in his 70s at that point. I don't know what it was about Bush that he decided he's going to start to help Democrats. I never really heard why he decided then. Well, we know he's been influencing. I had it here and I've lost it, but he made $1 billion on a short sale. And I'm not an economic person at all. That broke the Bank of Britain in the early 90s. Now, his Wikipedia article credits him for contributing to the fall of the communist bloc. And I'm like, he's like a superhero that saved us from communism, I guess. I don't know, but he doesn't like China from what I've seen, from what I've told, which generally everybody tends to agree on that. Yeah. But he tried to do something with China too back in, I think it was in the 90s, and China had the ability to stop him because they have control over their economy. And he's done it in other countries too. So to be honest, it doesn't seem like he's really cared about whoever he's hurt at all. You know, a lot of people have been hurt by him, and then he gets the Medal of Freedom from Biden, which to me feels like that was a like, thank you for supporting us kind of thing.
Financially too, right?
Yeah.
But it's funny, the longer the Justice Department and everybody investigates these people, I think you're going to find out. We're already finding out that he's one of the main arms of the dark state, the evil caliphate on the left. But the media, too, it's becoming more and more evident, and it can't be much more apparent just by what you said, the Wikipedia, the way they report, the mainstream media. That whole structure, I think the only way it's going to be fixed is it all has to be torn down and restarted. You heard that some entrepreneurs were thinking about getting some people together and reporting on events, honest reports on events that are happening throughout the country and throughout the world. And they're thinking about calling it the news. Because there is no news. I'm far right. I do watch Fox News, but I know it leans right. And mainstream completely left. They won't even cover anything. So
getting back to Musk and Soros, as you touched on at the beginning, I don't get the sense that Musk isn't he obviously, when you're a business you want to make money, but he seems like he's somebody who's a builder. He likes to build things. He had something to do with the early stages of PayPal, and then he sold that, and then obviously Tesla and rockets. When you're a kid, you like to build things, blocks and things like that. He's a builder. Trump is too. And with him, it's real estate. Hey, I built that casino and it's got my name on it. Whereas with Soros, it's, I'm going to make an amoral decision on how to make money. And if it causes a country's currency to collapse or something like that.
Well, they're complete opposites, Mark. Musk, like you said, is a builder. He makes money by building things. He reminds me of a little kid. Like you said, I like rocket ships. I want to build rocket ships. But he has the means and the mental capacity to do it. So he's a builder, and Soros is just the opposite. He makes money by tearing things down.
Deconstruction.
One constructs, the other deconstructs. So it's like two complete polar opposites, almost like a reflection on the party. And he hid for so long about these protests. So what else is he funding? It's all about moving money around. That's what hedge funds do. He can take money from here and put it here. He can take money from here and put it there. And he runs one of the world's, if not the world's largest hedge fund. So he knows how to place money and hide money and do all these things. What's the big issue right now? The big scandal is people stealing money. Where are all those millions of dollars coming from? Do you get the feeling that maybe George Soros might have had something to do with being able to move that money around and pay certain people on certain things and launder money? Who can launder money better than somebody that owns a hedge fund? I think we all know the answer.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that's kind of mysterious about Soros is he is, like you said, the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, because he has his Open Society Foundation and all these other organizations that he might have influence in, and you don't even really know. It's like you said, it's really hard to say. Whereas with Elon Musk, you know what he's doing. He's building a rocket ship. He's talking about putting chips in people's brains to help to improve the human race, which, I'm a sci-fi fan. That's a little scary.
Yeah.
But I did read that he's developed a chip where they got, I think it was a bird or something like that, to play Pong.
That's something. But the scariest thing for me are those Tesla robots. With the way AI is developing, people can't tell the real thing from the fake.
It's exponential growth. The more you set AI to do things, I mean, we have control over the plug, I guess. We can always pull the plug, but in those sci-fi concepts, you can't pull the plug because they get so smart that you're not pulling the plug on us humans.
I think that some of they say have the ability to teach themselves.
They're
things.
AI is writing AI, and then that AI writes more AI. In essence, it's like it can be used for good purposes, and that's what we think it is going to be used for. But then
right.
With any invention, it's all in how it's used. It could be used for good,
hey,
or
man,
it could be
you know what? I smell a whole video on AI coming up. What do you think?
Yeah.
That's something we could talk about all day. So in closing, George Soros is just a complete piece of shit, right?
Seems like it. I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, but really at the heart of a person, there's good people out there and there's bad people out there. He said he's amoral when he makes his decision, so go by what he says.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, but keep making noise on the left, but got the dark caliphate and things keep getting uncovered. That's why everybody's so desperate and everybody's screaming so loud, because once they get these things uncovered, there's no going back. There's no putting the genie back in the bottle, as they say, right?
Right. Well, I think what's what is more interesting and complex is the hypocrisy of the Democrats having George Soros and people of that ilk, Bill Gates, and then they're bashing Republicans because Elon Musk is helping with the efficiency. Trump and his billionaires are trying to.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the Dems and their billionaires aren't trying to. They have been influencing all kinds of things, and all Musk is trying to do is get the government more efficient so that we don't go bankrupt.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
Yeah. Well, the left billionaires are okay, but if you're on the right, you're a billionaire.
You're evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like everybody else, I guess. Left is right and right is wrong.
Right.
That's how they want us to look at it.
I saw where the federal deficit goes up $1 trillion every 100 days. And I also saw where that came out to, and I didn't verify the math, our federal deficit goes up $10 billion a day.
Wow.
So when President Trump says, or was it Musk, one of them said that we're saving on average about $2 to $3 billion a day, we're still going down the hole.
Yeah.
You got a $10 billion a day deficit, and now they've got it where they're saving maybe $2 billion a day. That's still $8 billion in the hole every single day.
And they don't see it.
It's got to stop.
Yeah, it's like they're set on self-destruction for some reason. I don't understand it,
I don't know why anybody on the Democrat side can't see the unsustainability of going in debt $10 billion a day. I just don't see it. because that outcome is not good.
I think they're blinded by hatred. They just hate him so much and everything he stands for, good, bad, or indifferent. They just hate it so badly that even when things make sense, the hatred has taken the place of their common sense. They've got to get it together and look at it objectively. If they're going to argue about things, argue using facts and at least viable theories that you can discuss with each other instead of one guy saying, well, the tariffs are here to try and even the playing field. And the other guy's going, screw Trump and the tariffs. Screw the tariffs. Okay, well, tell me why reciprocal tariffs are bad. Well, they just are. We've been doing it all this time, and now he's just screwing it up because he's an asshole and we hate Trump. One argument is completely emotionally based, and the other argument is trying to
logically based.
Yeah, use actual logic and facts. So let's have discussions. I would love to have somebody on here or two people if they think we're ganging up on them. I would love to have people on here. And I could very easily say, hey, you've made a great point. But I don't want somebody on here that's just banging on the desk saying, I hate Trump and you're an asshole for liking Trump. But tell me what you think is happening and why, and let's talk about it. And, he has a pretty good track record. So you can't really go back to the first term. He was using some tariffs. He's using more now. And we all have opinions and nobody's perfect. I don't think everything he does is perfect, but nobody is perfect except for the guy we're going to be celebrating here in another week as Christians.
Yes.
So you've got to understand that everybody's going to make mistakes. And I think he has a good enough cabinet and he's changed to where he is actually backing away from some decisions that maybe were mistakes or could develop into something that are mistakes. And that to me is refreshing. Everybody's saying he's going back and forth on, but you know what? What would you rather do? It's just like somebody said, they rehired 60,000 people that they fired in one of the departments. Isn't that a waste of time and money? And I said, Joe Biden could fire how many people for not taking the jab, for not getting the vaccine? Tens of thousands of people that are showing up for work, that may be exceptional employees, exemplary, and they're doing a great job, but they don't want to get the vaccine. But they're all fired. Did they get hired back? Not by Biden. They're gone. So at least if they're doing that and hiring the people back, you got to give them a hell of a lot more credit than what Joe Biden did, based on a lot of these things that are complete bullshit, the masks, the distancing, the arrows in the shopping centers, and all that complete horseshit, and the vaccines. At first they prevented it, and then they lessened it, and then they prevented so many deaths, and then they stopped you from getting it so many times, and then when they started getting vaccines and boosters and they still got COVID 5 times, it's like, well, it's not as bad. I mean, come on, whose asses are you blowing smoke up? It was all a test on obedience, and depending on how you want to look at it, they either passed with flying colors or they failed miserably, because after that, just like you saw the last 4 years, whatever the government says, the sheep followed. It's amazing. And I think that's part of it. A lot of the conservatives didn't get the vaccine or the jab or whatever you want to call it. And you guys probably don't know it because the camera takes like 50 pounds off me, but I'm overweight. I'm obese. I'm really overweight. I'm diabetic. I don't have a real good heart. I'm older. I know I look like I'm in my 30s, but I'm 63, I never got vaccinated and I got COVID, and it was not pleasant, but I recovered. I never went to the doctor. Now, some people died, but the same thing happens with flu and everything else. I'm a staunch believer that you get it and you build up a resistance, or you don't. But what's more of a shame, the worst, is people are sitting there behind glass watching their grandmother or their spouse or whoever die in a nursing home because they can't even go by their bed and hold their hand or talk to them and comfort them and tell them goodbye. What kind of sick, morbid bullshit was that? It's just amazing. All the stuff that they just threw out there and people were just supposed to buy into it. Remember? What was it? You get a lottery ticket if you get the vaccine, and all the ways they were trying to coerce people. They were this far from just lining people up and forcing them to get the damn thing. I thought they were going to tattoo their arms like end of days and say only the people with the mark that got the vaccine are able to get groceries and everything else. That wouldn't have surprised me. We were pretty close. But you know what? They've proven that if they ever want to do that, a lot of the people will buy right into it. And that's what's sad about it. It was just a test, an experiment on government control and obedience. That's how I feel about it.
I know you're running long here, but just real quick on that topic, because I'll never remember it for a future podcast. My wife was working at a hospital at the time, and they checked people's temperatures when they walked in. They had her down there doing it. The battery was dead, and they said, just pretend.
Boy.
And the other thing that they did is they had her, and it was everybody in the hospital and probably the whole hospital system. They had to do a little survey every morning on their computer. Do you have these symptoms? Blah, 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 blah. And if you do, you have to go home, which is fine. But then if you go home, you get points. So if you did have a sore throat that day, you basically were forced to lie. Because if you have a sore throat and it says you must go home, if you go home, now you've got 2 points on your record or whatever their point scheme is, and you threaten your job. So it made people have to lie in order to keep the... We could talk about that some other time. It's just...
Well, listen, Mark, again, I thank you for being here. I want everybody to know that we're going to have a special Easter broadcast coming up next Sunday, talking about the holiday and the United States and the origins and things like that. Mark didn't participate because I wanted him to wear an Easter bunny suit like the one on
I won't do it.
The Christmas Story, and he just wouldn't do it. So
I almost quit the podcast permanently because of the Easter bunny. It's called Easter Bunny Costume Gate.
I mean, come on. And then I just wanted you to put your hands up like this and hop across the floor. You're so unreasonable, Mark.
I know.
But yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be short but sweet. And then we're going to take that weekend off. I think we'll put it out on Good Friday. I hope you all enjoy that. But I appreciate you all being here. Until next time, stay the course, stay strong, and stay patriotic. God bless you all. And God bless the United States of America. Thanks again, Mark. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Happy Easter.
You too. Bye-bye.